guys, Rose here with the Cackling Moon. This is going to be a video about how to create tarot spreads. This was actually a question that I have been receiving quite a few times in the past. And Leela Hal actually mentioned it to me today while I was texting her. And she was like, oh, you should do a video about, you know, just how to create tarot spreads. Like, how do you go about it? And I was like, you know what? That's a good idea because that is a question I receive a lot. And I think a lot of people would appreciate that. So I have my tarot spread journal here. This is my beautiful journal. You've probably seen it in other videos. This is the book that I conduct all of my tarot spreads in. I'm almost to the end of the book, actually. But this whole monster is filled with tarot spreads that I have created. So if you guys have not been to my shop, it is you go to the website, TheCacklingMoon.com, click on tarot readings, and then it'll take you to my shop. It's a store envy shop where I put all of my services out there where you guys can purchase a kind of reading that you want. And I am the kind of tarot reader where I like to create spreads to go with certain themes of readings. So for example, when it's the holiday season, I will have Christmas readings or New Year's readings, and I will create a specific spread for those types of readings. Halloween, I did spooky theme readings, so I had specific ones for those. All of my tarot readings that I offer in the shop, with the exception of the past, present, future, are all created by me. I create the spreads. I used to post them on the description of each of the services so that you could kind of see what questions are going to be asked of the cards as I pull them. But I stopped doing that because I was noticing certain people, well, not certain people, but I noticed that I had a concern that people were stealing my spreads and not crediting. So I didn't really want to offer that as a free service for people who just think that they can steal other people's work and not give credit. So I took down my spreads, and I have them all written in my book so I can refer to it. So if you ever watch a video reading where it's usually the birthday readings, because I can, for the life of me, I can never remember the spread for the birthday readings. I will always have my book out. So if you've ever been watching, birthday reading. So if you've ever been watching one of my readings and you see that I have like a book set on the table, it's because it's my spread journal and it's to help me remember the spreads. So birthday readings, I have a birthday reading here. I'm going to be actually updating the birthday readings, so working on that. My tapping into the grave is a spread that I created as well. Shadow yourself. I have a spirit communication spread. I have a water element spread, angel message, the year of you. I have a lot of different shit in here, like a lot. The problem with us. That was a spread that I created to go for like a couples reading. I do offer couples readings, but there's certain ones that I can do, which I'm actually going to be throwing these in the shop in February for Valentine's Day, so keep an eye out for that. But I have a whole crap load of readings. So let's see. I have a frenemies reading. So I guess I'll use this one as an example because I've never had this one in the shop before. So what I do when I think about a reading is I think, first off, what kind of a reading do I want to create? That's always like the first step in my process. So for this frenemies, I was thinking I want to do a reading for people who deal with friends that you think you could trust but you can't. Those kind of things, or people who are, are enemies, or they don't like you, but you still kind of keep them close to you because you would rather be acquaintances in an odd sense rather than enemies. I don't know. That's just my thing. So I was like, let me create a reading for that because that is definitely something that I struggled with in the past. And I know that a lot of people and a lot of my clients probably would struggle with the same thing. So when I thought of frenemies, I was like, okay, I'm going to do a spread about that. What kind of information? So this is the next question I would ask myself. What kind of information do I want to get from this reading? What kind of questions would my client want to ask? What kind of questions would I want to ask if I was to have this reading done? And that's how I go through and create the reading. So I usually just do bullet point. And usually I'll just make up a list of things that I want, or sometimes I will just straight out create a reading. 9 times out of 10, I just create it on the go. So the first one was you, which is the energy of you or me. So I always usually from my spreads, I always have a card that will either be the identification of my current energy or the energy of the question. Because that helps kind of set a foundation for the rest of the reading. So in this case, I have a card that I would pull for you and then a card for them. So I would pull a card for your energy and then I would pull another card for the frenemy, the person in question's energy, to kind of see where you guys are meshing, where you are like butting heads, that kind of thing. The third one is what caused the differences. So that's the next thing I would ask is like, if I was to get a reading like this, I'd kind of want to know, well, what the hell happened to us? Why are we not friends anymore? So that's the next question that I would ask. What caused your differences? Then the next card, is this worth fixing? Usually when you're creating a spread, you want to kind of think of the storyline. So you want to think of what kind of information do you want to find out, and then how can you fix it, or how can you solve that problem? Because that creates a really good meaty reading for a client. You don't want to just pull cards to give them, oh, well, you guys aren't friends because of this, and then that's the end of your reading. I feel like that's kind of leaving it open-ended. It's kind of like your client is going to be like, okay, I kind of knew that, so how do I fix this? So that's how I like to go about it when I create spreads. It's kind of like giving them a conclusion or giving them something to work on. So is this worth fixing? The next spread or the next position would be what you should take from the experience. So I feel like that's really important because it gives you something to think about. If things are going sour with someone and you pull a card to say what you should take from this experience, it kind of gives your client something to think about in terms of this whole volcanic eruption of a friendship meant something. What is it? You know, leave them with something to think about. And then I put if it's worth fixing, and that's in parentheses, so as you can see here. If it's worth fixing, what is the next move? And if it's not, some advice for the future. So I like to do that. I like to pull like if or not, you know, if it's a yes or a no, or if you stay together or if you break up, you know, things like that. I like to kind of give 2 different options because sometimes the cards will throw you for a loop and you will realize, oh shit, like it's not working out. Now what do I tell my client, you know? So when I create spreads, I always think of the person in mind. So let's actually pull cards on this just for kicks. So this is going to be a completely fictional reading. It's not going to be true. And let's put this down to my table. So this is going to be a fictional reading to kind of give you guys an idea of how my spread works. So the frenemies reading, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a 7-card spread. I'm not going to go into it like a legit reading. I'm just going to do this really fast. So first you would shuffle the cards. And what I do is when I create spreads, I always like to try them out. Because I'm not going to put something in my shop that doesn't work. You know what I mean? I'm taking payment. So I want to make sure that what I create... Whoa, okay. I want to make sure that what I create is working. So this first card is going to indicate your energy in the reading. So you got a 10 of Cups. So if that was a client that I was reading for, I would say your energy in this reading, you're a people person, you are really loved, you are really popular, you are very well put together, you kind of have everything going for you right now, that kind of thing. And then I would say, okay, let's see what's going on with them. Oh, They got the Wheel of Fortune. So they are going, they're going through something right now. They're going through a major change in their life, or there's karma that's coming up here. This would kind of be a red flag for me to see the Wheel of Fortune. It would be kind of like, okay, maybe they did something to cause a rift between the two of you. So then the next card actually would answer the question after we see the energies between the two of you guys. What caused your differences? And we got the Queen of Swords. So the Queen of Swords for what caused your differences. Well, this could be somebody that this person started befriending, maybe. The Queen of Swords could be someone's influence. The Queen of Swords could be their attitude. It could resemble their attitude. Maybe this person turned into a bitch. Maybe this person was like very truthful and honest and you didn't like what they said. You know, it could be a lot of different things. Is this worth fixing? Well, Temperance came up. So is this worth fixing? Yes. I feel like an apology is needed with the Temperance card coming up. I feel like the Temperance card is showing the exchange of feelings, the exchange of you know, your both sides. You need to just talk it out. And yeah, finding a balance between the two of you to make amends. What you should take from the experience. Lovers. Wow. So what I would say is what you should take from this experience is that you guys have a really tight bond. You guys are very close, and that even though you have disagreements or you know, not a good connection at times, you guys know where to come back to being friends again. So, you know, that's just really quick what I would say. So then the next card is if it's worth fixing, which yes, it is because of Temperance card. I would say is if it's worth fixing, what is the next move? Page of Cups came up. So this is definitely telling me that someone has to be the bigger person to deliver the I'm sorry. Someone has to step forward and apologize. If it's not worth fixing, some advice for the future. Well, it is worth fixing. So I would just pull instead, I would just pull a card for advice anyway. And we got the King of Cups. So we have a Page and a King of Cups. To me, it's like a growth. Someone needs to mature here. Someone needs to grow up. Someone needs to realize the way that they talked and apologize for their feelings, for lashing out, you know, blah, 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 blah. So that's just an example of how I created a spread and it was able to give you answers. When you create spreads, you want to make sure that your client is left with answers. You want to make sure that your client has their reading and they feel like they had their question answered, or they feel like they are left with something to think about or a new something to work on, you know, giving them homework so that they come back to you maybe a month later for another reading to see what's going on after you left them with something to work on. You know what I mean? So I do feel like when you are creating spreads, you don't just want to create a spread to kind of see what happened with your friendship, the frenemies. You also want to pull cards to say what could you do to fix it, you know, or how can you move on from it. So that's just an example. But like I said, creating spreads is really fun. It's definitely something that I love to do. All of my readings are 100% mine with the exception of the past, present, future. But you can create spreads for anything. I created stuff for pet communication. I've created readings for a whole bunch of different type of relationship readings. Halloween readings, Christmas readings, weight loss readings, pregnancy readings. Like I've done a lot of those things. But it's just a matter of what kind of information do you want to gather from the reading? What kind of information do you want to provide for your client? And then, of course, the way I figure it is a spread that I create, depending on how many cards it requires, then I figure out how do I price it. So if a reading is only 3 cards, it's not going to cost as much as a reading where I'm pulling like 10 plus cards. You know what I mean? So I don't charge by the card, but I do charge by the amount of decks that I'm using or the amount of cards that I am pulling for the reading. And that is why my full-size readings cost more than my small readings, because my small readings are less cards, full-size are more cards, and I usually use multiple decks. So I hope that answered your guys' questions about creating your tarot spreads. If you guys have any other questions about it, don't hesitate to leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you. And happy tarot spread crafting. Bye, guys.